Hey everyone, I'm Francesca Froio and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I like to talk about phototypes and undertones. This is an essential, fundamental parameter when we perform permanent makeup on a client. The first thing we need to know is to pick the right color based on the phototype and on the undertone of the client's skin. And this is why in today's video we're gonna start from scratch, talking about this super important topic. Let's get straight into it. What is a phototype? Phototypes indicate the amount of melanin which is contained inside of the skin of each one of us. The more melanin we have, the more prone our skin is to sun exposure, and the more tan the skin also gets. Phototypes are divided into fair, actually very fair, intermediate, olive and tan. As you can tell, we're passing from very pale skin tones to a more bronze and tan and rich skin tones. And this chromatic scale indicates the phototypes. Now, the undertone, though, it's what really matters for us as permanent makeup artists. Why do we care about understanding the undertone? Because the undertone tells us if we need to, which color exactly we need to pick for the eyebrow permanent makeup. Let me make it more clear. Every single phototype can have 3 different undertones. So, for example, the fair skin can be fair with like a warm undertone if it tends to red to pink, a neutral undertone if it tends to more yellow shades, and a cold undertone if it tends to greenish or grayish undertones. And these 3 possibilities, these 3 undertones, can be applied, can be found in any phototype. Now, for us as permanent makeup artists, this is essential to recognize, because if we see that our client has a warm undertone, so her skin presents some red, some pink, this skin will warm up any eyebrow color that we will implant under the skin. And this is the reason why we need to select an eyebrow color which will neutralize the red undertone of her skin, will balance it. How do we do that? We work in layers. Imagine the skin as a filter. In this case, we're talking about a red filter because the skin of my client warms up the colors. To neutralize red, we need to use the complementary color of red, which is green. And with the pigment, we apply it on top of the skin. So red and green together, they neutralize themselves, and the yield result, the final effect, will be a neutral shade. So, if my client has a warm undertone, I will need to pick an eyebrow color that contains some green inside. So a cold eyebrow colors. In the Biotek range of colors, which are the colors that I use mainly, actually only, they're divided, the eyebrow range is divided into 3 columns. We got the cold colors, which contain green, the neutral colors, which are balanced, and the warm colors that contain red. So, if my client has a red undertone, I will pick a cold green color. And vice versa. If my client has a green, grayish undertone into her skin, no matter which phototype she has, I will select the complementary color of green, which is red. So I will select an eyebrow color that contains a good amount of red to neutralize it. And if my client has a neutral undertone, well, this is the best, because we don't have to worry about anything. We just select a neutral shade among the range of Biotek pigments. Selecting the right color is super essential, because if you don't do this procedure, this identification of the undertone, you risk to apply, for example, a warm color on a warm skin. Red of the color plus red of the skin ends up in a red eyebrows for your client, which will be a disaster and an awful result. So make sure to test out all the shades, to read the color chart carefully, and you will have no surprises if you will pick the right Biotek color. I use them, they're great, they're stable, you only need to select the right shade for you. And now I will show you a very quick clip, like a tutorial on what I do when my client enters my studio. And I hope this will be super clear for you, will make everything I said a little bit more realistic and concrete. Choosing the perfect Biotek eyebrow color, it's super easy. First of all, we have to identify the natural eyebrow color of our client. To do so, open the color chart and you will see that the colors are displayed from the lightest to the darkest, starting from blonde colors, light brown colors, dark brown colors, and extra dark brown colors. Here you'll find 3 columns. On the left side, the cold colors with a green tendency. In the center, the neutral color with yellow tendency. On the right side, the warm colors with red tendency. Well, my client today has medium brown hair. So for sure, I'm going to select one of these 3 medium brown colors. But which one? The cold one, the neutral one, or the warm one? In order to select the perfect shade, we need to take the phototype face board. This will help us to identify if the undertone of the skin color of my client will be rather warm, neutral, or cold. If my client will have a warm undertone, I will need to select a cold pigment, so with a lot of green that will neutralize the warm contained inside her skin. On the other hand, if the client has a cold undertone, I'll need to select a warm pigment to neutralize her undertone. And if she has a neutral tone, I will select a neutral pigment. The first 3 blocks indicate warm undertones of the skin, therefore a high prevalence of red. The second 3 blocks indicate a neutral undertone of the skin, which means a prevalence of yellow, and the last 3 blocks here, they'll indicate a cold undertone, meaning a high prevalence of green. While my client today has definitely a warm undertone, which means that her skin tends to red. It's gonna warm up any pigment. So out of the 3 colors that I have identified previously, I'm going to select the coldest one, Portofino. Now let's open the Pmu Tester Palette. It's gorgeous because it's manufactured using exactly the same powders, the same pigments that compose the color that we use for permanent makeup. In this way we can test if the color we have identified it's the perfect match for our client. We just need to smear it next to the eyebrow of our client, and in this way we will also show our client what will be the healed result that she can expect 30 days after the treatment. It's perfect. Now we're ready, we can start the procedure. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and I hope I've been able to show you something new, something useful for your profession. If so, please rate it positively by giving it a thumb up. This is my first video in English, so be patient for my accent and my possible mistakes I've made. Thank you all for watching me, and I see you in the next videos. Bye!